Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Commander's Forge. My name is Andy Bentley, and the Forge is an area for me to talk about Magic, Commander, and anything else while I try and drag this whole mental health thing back to where it's supposed to be. Now, today I want to touch on the, quote unquote product fatigue, because I've been feeling it. So, as I've mentioned before, I go to basically every pre-release with my cousin because my LGS does a two-headed giant on Friday night. We just went to the Edge of Eternities. We went 3-1, had a grand time. But now I'm already seeing Spider-Man cards getting spoiled. And I'm not going out of my way to find them and see them, but let's face it, I can't open social media being a Magic centered thing and not see that. You know what I mean? All anybody's been talking about the last 2 days is that they revealed the Soul Stone, which is cool. I feel like there's going to be one of two things that happens. Either all of the Infinity Stones are going to be in this set, or it basically confirms that they have multiple sets coming down the road, which wouldn't surprise me because as big as Spider-Man is, it kind of should get its own set. But the same could be said for, Iron Man. The same could be said for Fantastic Four. There's, yes, overlap, but just looking at New York City in the Marvel Universe, you have Tony Stark's Iron Man, you have the Fantastic Four in the Baxter Building, you have Spider-Man, and then when you get into some of the other boroughs, Hell's Kitchen is Daredevil's territory, and he's very territorial about it. But you also have, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, that they all operate in New York City. So you could theoretically do the Defenders as their own set. And the Defenders are, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and Daredevil. Just the amount of content they have. If they wanted to do, and I guess this would be a smart way to do it, is, do sets centered on, the key members of the Avengers, and then eventually the Avengers. That would at least be interesting. But they just, I don't know. It just seems like everyone's so gung-ho about, oh, what's next? But, Edge of Eternities just came out, and I don't want to brew anything from Edge of Eternities. I'm still brewing stuff from Final Fantasy. I still want to play with the Final Fantasy cards. I don't know. I talked about my experience with Secret Lair last week. And if it turns out that the other Infinity Stones end up being in Secret Lairs, I'm just not gonna care about them at all. And if there isn't an Infinity Gauntlet at the end of whatever this whole thing is that says, oh, hey, if you control all of the Infinity Stones, you get to do a thing. But regardless, I'm more here for they made Final Fantasy so damn expensive that it's hard to get my hands on the product. That said, I have opted more for buying singles, but like there are some singles that are ridiculously expensive. No, Edge of Eternities is out, and like yeah, it's fun, and like there's one deck I might want to build, and that's because I was already looking at a Gruul Landfall deck. So like Tanuk is 3 mana and Gladiolus is 6. Like that's a decent swap. I don't know. I'm tired, and it's not just because of Magic. I'm just tired, and that's in general. I'm trying to work as much as I can to save up some extra money this year. I'm trying to, pay off my car in the next year or two. I'm trying to save up to get like a place closer to work so I don't have to rely so much on my car. I'm tired. But that said, I think I'm gonna stop this part here and just a little food for thought. Maybe Wizards could slow down just a little bit. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I can't overhype myself anymore. I just get excited for what I want to get excited for nowadays. That said, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to talk about a deck I brewed from Final Fantasy. And we're back. Now, today I want to talk about a deck that I just kind of finished putting together. It's still in its version 1 configuration. I will end up changing things about it over time. But for now, let's talk about Hope Estheme. Hope is a white and a blue for a 2/2 human wizard with lifelink, and at the beginning of your end step, each opponent mills X cards, where X is the amount of life you gained this turn. Now, there were a good number of ways I could take the deck, and I kind of settled on the one that I did. So, if you're familiar with the Soul Sisters archetype, I kind of figured I'd go with that as my base. So, because of that, I do have, Soul's Attendant, which is a single white mana for a human cleric. It's a 1/1 whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life. And Soul Warden, which is single mana for a human cleric, 1/1 whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain 1 life. Those are the hallmark cards of the archetype, and why it's called the Soul Sisters, because Soul Warden, Soul's Attendant. But we also have Suture Priest, 1 and a white for a 1/1 Phyrexian cleric. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may gain a life. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, that player loses 1 life. We have Auriok Champion, which is white for a 1/1 human cleric. Protection from black and red. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life. Impassioned Order, 1 and a white for a 2/2 human peasant. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Luminarch Veteran is a single white for a 1/1 human cleric. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. It also has Disturb for 1 and a white and turns into a slightly more resilient creature. Becomes the Luminous Phantom. It's a spirit cleric, it has flying, and whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, you gain 1 life. If it would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. Then we have Dexos Blessed by the Sun. It's a white for a 2-star demigod. His toughness is equal to your devotion to white, and whenever another creature enters the battlefield or dies, you gain 1 life. And finally, we have a Johnny's Welcome. Single white mana for an enchantment. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Now, one of the biggest things with life gain decks is they typically don't have like a hard win condition. So we do. We have the mill through our commander. But we wanted to make sure we had other ways to trigger. So let's go through some of the other creatures in the deck that have lifelink or do help in some ways. First up, we have Delny Streetwise Lookout. It's 2 and a white for a 2/2 human scout. Creatures you control with power 2 or less can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater. And if an ability of a creature you control with power 2 or less triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Our commander's a 2/2, by the way. Then we've got the Resplendent Angel is 1 white for an angel. 3/3. Flying. At the beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance, and you can pay 3 white till end of turn. The Resplendent Angel gets +2/+2 and lifelink. After that, we have the Aerial Responder, which is 1 white for a dwarf soldier. It's a 2/3 with flying, vigilance, and lifelink. After that, we have the Healer's Flock, which is white for a 3/3 bird with flying and lifelink. And then I got one more creature I want to touch on, and this doesn't necessarily gain me life, but it likes that I do gain life, and that is Archangel of Thune. 3 white for a 3/4 angel with flying and lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. And then I guess I just want to talk about some utility things. Starting with arguably the card that kind of made me want to build this deck, which is Space-Time Anomaly. 2 a white and a blue for a sorcery. Target player mills cards equal to my life total. Next up, we have Dawn of Hope, which is like the best draw engine we have in the deck. It's 1 white for an enchantment. Whenever you gain life, you can pay 2, and if you do draw a card, you can pay 3 and white and create a 1/1 white soldier creature token with lifelink. We have the Leyline of Hope, which is 2 white for an enchantment. If it's in your opening hand, you can have it enter the battlefield as the game starts, but if you would gain life, you gain that much life +1 instead. And as long as you control, you have 7 or more life than your starting life total. Creatures you control get +2/+2. Next up, we have the White Sun's Twilight. X white for a sorcerer, you gain extra life. Where X, you create X 1/1 colors for action might artifact creature tokens with Toxic 1 and this creature can't block. If X is 5 or more, destroy all other creatures. So that's fine because our commander's cheap enough. We might be able to just, blast that off for enough to clear the board, then play our commander and, profit. Next up, we have Zavencer's Journal, which is a 5 mana artifact with you have no maximum hand size. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you gain a life for each card in your hand. After that, we have Alhemra's Archive, 5 mana, legendary artifact. If you would control life, you gain twice that much life instead. If you would draw a card, except the one you draw in your main phase, you draw 2 cards instead. Will Lost Dreams is 4, and then whenever you gain life, you can pay X, where X is the amount or less than the amount of life you gain this turn. If you do, you draw X cards. We've got Heliod's Intervention, which is X, white, for an instant. Choose either to destroy X artifacts and or enchantments, or target player gains twice X life. And finally, we have my alternative win conditions. First up, we have Test of Endurance. 2 white for an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, you gain, or if you have 50 or more life, you win the game. And Aetherflux Reservoir is a 4-mana artifact that says whenever you cast a spell, you gain 1 life for each spell you've cast this turn, and pay 50 life to deal 50 damage to target creature or player. So, yeah. That's kind of the deck in a nutshell. It's got, other things going on, but those are kind of the big things. And, yeah. I think that's where I'm going to leave it today, because contrary to popular belief, I am still extremely exhausted. So I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. All of my links can be found in my link tree in the description below. I would like to thank Ian Foss and Cody Mulvey of the band The Crypt for allowing me to use music for my opening and ending, along with Nate and Erica Jacobs for making my original logo. And I would also like to thank Christina McNichol for creating my new logo. And I'll see you next time.